Welcome everybody to the season opener of season 4, episode 1 of The Movement.
The Movement.
We are officially live and ready to get this show on the road today, and we are excited, first of all, to shoot off the new season. This is hopefully, inshallah, another great year of doing shows with great people. And also, shout out to the people that are in the building today, from the guests to the co-hosts to even the friends that are here today. So let's start off with, who's in the building. Little big bro Yusuf Thab is actually behind the scenes for this episode on the ones and twos. As always, we appreciate him. Of course, you got myself, Omar T. Another co-host we got here is Hamza T. And then we got, he's doing this for a reason. There's a reason why he's putting the fist up today. And then another co-host of the Movement Podcast, we have Ali Abdullah. And our guest for today, is UFC Fighter, a.k.a. we're going to call him a legend.
You gotta like bring him in like, waiting at
weight.
one.
We should have got his weight. And his height too, man. But our guest for today is Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwady. He's in the building. Go ahead and give him a round of applause. Professional UFC fighter. Yeah, we got a crowd in the audience too, by the way. They like to give us claps whenever we do that. And they might even laugh if we crack a good joke.
Thank you.
What I'm saying? We're looking forward, inshallah, to a great show today. I do want to give a shout out to who's also in the building. We got Suhaib and Yusuf from UHF. We appreciate them and their support, always helping us book guests. And obviously, they helped us with getting Abdul-Kareem in the building as well. So, we're looking forward to a great show. We're going to talk to Abdul-Kareem about his journey, about being a UFC fighter and his Palestinian roots. So, we're going to dive into all of that. Before we do that, though, we do have to tell you to follow us on all of our socials. You have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all under Oz Media. You'll be able to listen to the show later on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. And, we got to give a shout out to every single person that supports us. So we appreciate the businesses and the sponsors that support us as well. And we are thankful for them as well. But with that said, Yusuf, we're going to go ahead and give a shout out to our first sponsor of today, which is going to be Juicebox. And then we're going to officially get the show on the road. So shout out to Juicebox, and then let's get this show rolling. All right? All right, Yusuf, I want you to envision this with me, okay? Imagine you just had a long day at work, and all you want is a nice, cool, refreshing drink to top it all off. Do you know where you stop by at, Yusuf?
It's got to be Juicebox.
It's definitely Juicebox. If you're looking for a place with the best smoothies, milkshakes, ice cream, cereal bars, and slushies, then Juicebox is your one-stop shop. You can try things like their Biscoff or Nutella shakes, crepes, watermelon blast, strawberry burst, or mango smoothies. And if you're looking for a place to hang out, they have a comfortable outdoor patio/courtyard area that you and your friends can enjoy while trying those delicious drinks. So be sure to stop by Juicebox. They have a Hamtramck location right there on Joseph Campo, with more locations coming soon. You'll be sure to leave there with a big smile on your face. You'll also be able to order your drinks from the new Juicebox app, which will also be coming soon. It will be downloadable on all of your smartphone devices. All right, we're officially back, about to learn more about Abdul-Kareem and checking in with him. So first of all, Abdul-Kareem, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Obviously, you are a professional UFC fighter, but maybe some things that maybe people don't know too much about you, and anything you'd like to share for the audience.
Yeah, I'm based in Dallas, Texas, and I train out of Fortis MMA. One of the fastest growing MMA gyms when we first came out, like big in the UFC, I want to say 2017, 2018. And then by 2021, 2020, we were already like top ranked MMA gym in the world. Just training full time over there. I'm nicknamed the Pride of Palestine, and mostly because everything I do, like in MMA, is to represent my people with every chance that I get. And, I love using MMA as my platform to represent Palestine way before, October 7th last year. And it's brought a lot of exposure and education to people that didn't know about what's going on there in Palestine. And it gives me a more better and important reason to fight.
No, I love that, man. I love that. And it's raising awareness. You know what I'm saying? And that's a great way of doing it. You're about to say something?
I was saying facts. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's a great way to raise awareness, and especially with what you're doing. Even your name, by the way, I had a little quick story that was told to me. Like even your name, there's like a deeper meaning behind it too. Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwady.
Yeah, my Al-Selwady isn't my real like last name for government papers and all. It's when I first started, I actually started MMA in the Middle East, and I wanted to represent my village, Selwad. So when you're fighting in the Middle East, like in Jordan, everyone is like Palestinian or Jordan, so it's not gonna be anything special if you're saying like, oh, I'm fighting for Palestine, right? Because
Yeah.
like we're all Palestinian, we're fighting each other.
Yeah,
It's like a local.
yeah,
But I wanted, like from day one, I wanted to like represent my people. But I never thought and focused like I'm only fighting, nationally. I wanted to go international, and I wanted the whole world to know, about Palestine. So from day one, I wanted to represent my village in Palestine. So, and it's been a big deal when I did go back to Selwad, Ramallah, which is where I'm from. Like people, they threw a parade for me, and I got to actually go and meet everyone in the village, and they told me how much it meant for them and how proud they were every time I fight. So it's like I gave myself a reason, like a big important reason to fight, and I was very motivated for fighting for people that I didn't really even know. But once I actually met them and I went to Palestine, it's like, wow, like it made the motivation like 100 times stronger. So, I fight for Palestine, but, if you're Palestinian and you read my last name, you'll know where I'm at, where I'm from in Palestine.
That's actually one of our questions is, do you feel like that you're fighting for your people back home? Because I always see you, carrying the flag, and everything you do is Palestine, and you just shared a story about that. So that's definitely the case in your mind too.
100%. Like, with everything going on, and you see all those videos on social media, your blood starts to boil and you feel like, what can I do? Like, I can't, like, me and so many people I know, they're like, man, I wish we could just, go back home and defend our place, but you can't even make it there. So you feel like, helpless with just, you're not able to do anything over here. Like, yeah, you boycott and you donate. There's a lot of things that you can do, but at the end of the day, you feel like you're not physically doing anything. And for me, fighting, it's like, I feel like I'm fighting for Palestine and I'm doing something about it instead of just, watching the screens and feeling like, I'm just watching them die and there's nothing I could do. So fighting is like the biggest motivation for me to, at least educate my people, represent my people, give them hope when they watch and see a Palestinian fighter out there, like, winning fights or getting on stage. And what more can I ask to do better?
Well, you and others are starting to show out for Palestine. Big news, Bilal Muhammad recently won a big fight recently. So this Palestinian fighters are out there and putting their names out there for Palestine, and it's great to see. So, and obviously we like to look at our, the people that are going to be coming on the show. So I did a little scrolling on your page, and I saw that you have a relationship, you're friends with Bilal. So what is that like? What's your relationship with Bilal Muhammad?
So me and Bilal been friends for about 10 years. And, MMA is all about timing. Like right now, you maybe, Bilal, me, I don't know if you know any other Palestinians, but give this another 5 years and you're going to see a whole new wave of up and coming Palestinian fighters. Like becoming a professional fighter and getting on that international stage takes years, So, inshallah, we like, it's a big deal for us to motivate an upcoming generation to come up and, fight for Palestine as well. As for me and Bilal, yeah, like we go way back, and funny thing is, I was supposed to fight. Like he fought last week. I was supposed to fight yesterday. So we camped together. I went and I trained with him in Chicago for this fight specifically. And, alhamdulillah for everything. I got injured 3 weeks ago. So I had to pull out, and I just got my treatment this past week. But, Bilal is one of those guys that from day one, since I've known him until now, like I've never seen him change, with the fame and the ranks that he's gone up. He's just been getting even more and more humble.
Yeah. No, that's good. That speaks a lot of his character, and obviously that's how we are as Muslims. We're not supposed to change, what I mean? We're supposed to just stick to who we are as people. So what's something that maybe both of you kind of learn from each other or help each other out and like kind of take with you guys?
I mean, really just overcoming like obstacles and how to be on the right path all the time. Like, we'll talk a lot before fights and just like getting different point of views of like our opponents or like things on training and recovery. So it's good to have like, whenever you're brothers and you just kind of communicate to kind of help each other.
Yeah. No, those are great points, man. Great points. And shout out to Abdul-Kareem. We've already been kind of drilling him with some questions already. I want to make sure that we get these young folks to involve. Hamza, you got anything that you want to chime in and talk to him about or mention?
Man, I just want to say respect to you, man, for having the weight on your shoulders for Palestine, man. Like it's a lot to do, and I respect every single way you do it, man. Like especially with fighting. Like I see all your fights. I saw all your stats as well. Like you good at UFC, bro. But I got a question. When you're in the ring, what is a move that people should be worried about?
With who exactly?
Anybody, like in the ring, with anybody in the ring.
I mean, really, you got to protect your face. That's number one. But like the reason why I like MMA the most is because I feel like it's the most complete, fighting sport or fighting style. Because you could bring in, any style, and if you're really good at it and you know how to implement it right and use your strengths and, cover your weaknesses, you could represent your style and make it seem like it's the best. Like, we have, Habib was able to show that wrestling is the more dominant style. Conor McGregor was able to show like, striking and being like more creative on the striking, a very dynamic striker, showing that is more dominant. John Jones being undefeated right now, like he's able to mix it up. So every fighter is different, with their strengths and weaknesses and how they make their style more dominant than their opponents.
Great point. Great point, man, and a great response as well. And Ali, feel free to obviously to chime in whenever you have something as well. And so, speaking of UFC, let's now we kind of like dove into your roots and being Palestinian. So, what made you want to become a UFC fighter? Like, what was, what got you going? What made you say like, all right, I'm gonna do this?
Man, I've always wanted to be a fighter since I was a little kid. I used to watch UFC with my dad, used to watch boxing with my dad. My dad used to do karate back in the day before like MMA was common. And he was going to box, and before his chances to fight, he tore his ACLs and that never went through. So I had a really invested father that wanted me in sports. And I did all the sports except for fighting. Like he pushed me away from fighting, even though he wanted me to be tough, but it was just, I was way too energetic and finding myself in trouble in school that he didn't want to put me in fighting, thinking that if he put me in martial arts, I was going to be, even crazier, cause more trouble, which wasn't the case until I was in high school. I went behind his back and I just, I went to a weightlifting gym, started training there. Then I started seeing people do Muay Thai. And that's whenever I got really interested and I started Muay Thai. And then, after a while, he found out, but it wasn't a big deal by then. It was like, okay, well, I've noticed in the last while something's made my son more busy, but in a good way, right? You know, more humble, more calm. And when I told him, it was kickboxing, he didn't say anything. It was really I had invited him to my tournament to come watch, and then he would say it was a 2-day tournament. The first day you do however many fights that take you to the finals, and the second day was the finals. He would say, if you win all of your fights the first day, I'll come watch your final. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, why would you say that? Like, why don't you just come support? And he's like, no, you should think about it as a motivation to make it to the finals.
That's the Arabic dad motivation right
there.
there.
And we'd always go back and forth. I was like, I am going to make it to the finals, but I want you to watch all of them.
Yeah.
And that was his deal with me, like the first 3 events. He's like, just make it to the finals and I'll come.
Did it work?
Alhamdulillah, yeah. I won them all. And then he started to see like how much this is taking over my life. Like I knew from then and there, like I want to be a fighter for the rest of my life. Like this is what I love doing. I can't see myself doing anything else. And he became more involved. He became like one of my coaches. He started studying MMA, started studying like coaching MMA, holding pads, studying opponents. Like my dad was on this all day, like obsessed. And it was great to have like a really big brain behind me to kind of study opponents. And at the end of the day, when you like just sit back and you're like, damn, that's my dad. Like it was crazy. Like until now, but now he lives in Jordan. But it was just insane. It felt like everyone was on the same mission.
Yeah. No, that's so. First of all, you are fighting for your country. You know what I mean? You're fighting for your village. You're fighting for your people. And to have your dad and back there supporting you as well, like I could only imagine the emotion and how you feel when you're getting into that ring. And so that support it's priceless, man. I couldn't, so I already know how that is, and having that whole team behind you, it's definitely a big thing. So I know you kind of shared, like you kind of said, like at some point you said, all right, you know what, I'm gonna do this. So what was like your aha moment? Like what was that moment where you were like, I could be a professional. Like, you know what, man, like this is my calling. Like this is what I was maktub to do. You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, as a amateur Muay Thai fighter, I was still I had just turned 17 when I started traveling abroad to represent Jordan at the time in the Muay Thai fights. Like I just knew, like it wasn't like just an aha moment where it's like, oh, I might want to fight. Like I never had doubt. It just came to me at once where I was like, I'm gonna chase this as much as I can. MMA was still new in Jordan. Every coach I would talk to about my excitement for MMA would push it away. Like, why do you want to fight like those roosters in a cage? Like this and that. Because, like a kickboxing coach only loves kickboxing. They don't like people taking you down, and they don't like any of that. So all I had around me was kickboxing, and I kept searching and searching for MMA in Jordan until I found like this MMA gym that was looking for sparring partners, basically punching bags for their fighters that are MMA fighters that are fighting on TV. And me as a little kid, I was like, man, I see these guys on TV all the time. Like, of course I want to be a punching bag for them. At least I get to meet them.
That's crazy.
And I get to I get to see how good I am. Like I just train in the local kickboxing gym. Like I get to go against these guys on TV. I was like, in my head, didn't tell anyone where I was going. I was like, I'm gonna go get beat up, but at least I'll learn. I get to like learn from them. I don't know what it is, but it just gets me closer to where I want to go. Man, subhanAllah, I go there, and then like, these guys are like, they just woke up, like they're a little late. These guys show up to training, and they're like getting their drinks ready, and I'm like there, like I didn't even sleep that night. I was like, oh yeah, like, yeah, I'm gonna go against these guys on TV. Like I'm just like all pumped up, focused. I'm there on time. Anyways, each of those guys that's going has like 3 coaches with him. Like it's like their full training camp. And I'm just there like by myself, 17-year-old. I go with the first guy. We start striking. And then I remember I liver kicked him. Kicked him in the stomach, and then he just dropped.
Oh, wow.
And he couldn't breathe. And the coaches were like yelling at him. So like this nobody kid came out of nowhere and he hit you. Like, what are you gonna do about it?
Do they get mad at you though, or no?
Not the coaches, but
Yeah.
the fighters. Yeah,
Okay.
obviously, because each fighter is like very cocky. Like they're one of few fighters in the Middle East, so it's like a really big deal who they are. Like,
Yeah.
like they're living the Conor McGregor life already. Like nobody, So yeah, I beat the first guy and he got dropped, and I was like, whoa. Anyways, they're like, yeah, whatever. A little kid got lucky, and they put me against the other guy, which is like he's very more well known. Anyways, mind you, I have no MMA experience, only kickboxing. So I'm going against the second guy. We're moving. I'm hitting him, and then he starts getting very uncomfortable because all my strikes are landing, and he shoots for a takedown and takes my back. Sinks in the choke, and I just start getting wild. Like, I don't know how to defend a choke. I just start, like, from the ground, I stand up with him on my back, and then I jump on my back. I'm thinking, like, if he's choking me, and if I jump and I land on my back, like, he's going to let go.
Yeah.
And no, like, he choked me, and I tapped, and that was it. So, after training, like, the coach is like, where are you from? Like, you're crazy. Like, you're wild. You want this more than they do. But you just don't know, like, jiu-jitsu, you don't know wrestling, but like I could tell you're fighting for your life in there. And I was like, yeah, I really want to fight. And they're like, yeah, okay, keep coming, get this experience. And I went there like 2 more times, like each week it was once. And then one day he calls me, he's like, hey, do you want to fight in 10 days? And I was like, yeah.
They just said that straight up.
I was like, yeah. He's like, you know what I'm talking about, right? I was like, fight. He was like, yeah, like an actual fight, like contract, the lights, this and that. I was like, oh, cool. Like I don't know what I was saying. I was just always saying, yeah, like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, you're crazy. I was like, why? He's like, I wouldn't take a fight on 10 days, let alone in a sport that I don't even know yet. Like, yeah. And I was like, man, and I went home and I told my dad, I was like, guess what? We made it, Dad. Like, it's just like, it was a big deal because officially I wasn't supposed to fight for like another year and a half, at least legally, I had just turned 17, and all the pros over there were like 25 and up, like 25 years old and up. And I was still like in high school. I was still starting high school. Like, this was a week before like that last year started. And just really in 10 days, like I start getting to that gym instead of just sparring. Like, now we're family.
Yeah.
And they're teaching me, like, this is how you sprawl, defend a takedown. This is how you take someone down. And anyways, 10 days later, I fought and I knocked the guy out in the first round. And it was just that. I would say that would be the moment where, yes, I always said I wanted to be a fighter, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. But like, since like from that day, like I knew, like, we all looked at each other like, this is just the beginning of a very, very long, inshallah, career and a successful career. And everyone knew I was different. Like, I was like, you'd expect a 17-year-old that just got in the sport, like, to kind of be afraid when they're walking out. Like, I came out with more, enthusiasm than any fighter on that card. Like, I would just like yell to the crowd and just embrace the crowd. And I do like the most explosive. I had a very explosive style with like how I fight, flying knees and elbows and Superman punches. And so I was always like a crowd favorite, just like with my style and also with my story, especially in the Middle East. It was me and my father always together. Everywhere we went, like if we had done this podcast, he'd be sitting right next to me. If we did a training session, he was there. Like, everywhere I went, it was me and my dad. And that was like a big deal in the Middle East, because if anyone was ever against someone doing something, it's the parent.
Yeah.
It's the parent always telling you, why are you wasting your time playing sports? Go study. Why are you wasting time doing this? So my dad being there with me all the time, it was like something very different in the Middle East.
It was a symbol of like acceptance from everybody, realistically. Like, when you see your dad next to you and whatever that you're doing, it's like a symbol for the whole Arab and Middle East that like it is being accepted. You know what I mean? So they can accept it too now. Like it's funny. Like, if we see that, like, it's like almost like we'll accept it as well, just because we see your dad next to you. You know what I'm saying?
And like, in the Middle East when I was there, like everything was happening quick from the beginning. Things were moving really quick. So everywhere me and my dad went, it was like center of attention of what's going on. And like, I just hear, people talk, like me and my dad, they'd say, so how do you let him do this, this and that? Like, you'd hear uncles talk all the time. So when are you going to let him stop? When are you going to, what's next? So it was always like the talk of the gathering, and things were moving quick. And as things were moving quick, I knew my aim was like UFC, the world. So I always made sure I trained with the best coaches, had the best team around me. And then that's whenever the decision to come back to the States, which is why I picked Fortis when I was scouting like MMA gyms and places where I want to live. I fell in love with Dallas, Texas, and I moved there in 2014.
There you go. Can you give him a round of applause, man? What a story right there. That was like the origin story. Ali, what are your thoughts, man?
I think that's like one of the beauties about like fighters and stuff. Like there's stories behind, like imagine, we just, heard, one of his stories. I'm sure he has many. Like think about like other guys too as well. Like, how many do they have? Like him at 17 years old going against, let's fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's that, that energy of, being young and stuff. Like just wanting to go do it.
Yeah. And finding.
I mean, like it's crazy because like I guess that was just like what he wanted to do at the time, man. Having that excitement for wanting to fight. That just tells you like he wants to fight.
Yeah.
So, and that's props to him, and like mashallah, that was crazy.
And kudos to the coaches too for like noticing that and like giving you a chance, man. Because sometimes that's all a person needs, right? Is
Literally.
that chance
Yeah.
and that one opportunity. I'm about to give you guys an Eminem line right there. One shot, one opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hamza, what are your thoughts on just the stories that you're hearing?
First fight at 17, man. That's respectable, honestly. And going against 25-year-olds and up, man, like that's crazy. Like I feel like when you enter the ring, like were you scared? Like when you're going against.
Man, there was no fear at all.
Was it like more like that? See, that's the thing. Like when you step in that ring, right? Is your mindset more like excitement, or is it more like ready to kill? Is it like what is it?
At that time during those days, it was all just like ready to kill. Like I just see red, see red, and like in my head, like people see me, I'm walking out, like there's the cage and there's like fans. Like for me, like I just see a battleground. Like I said, I'm walking to a battleground. And I remember more so in those days, it was like the gladiator was like my theme. And I just imagined it was like me one-on-one with another guy. We were sword fighting, and now we're putting the swords down and we're handling it like one-on-one. And I just got chills saying that because I remembered like that exact feeling. And then, it stayed like that when I was in the Middle East until I moved to the States. And then it was just this long battle between me and my coach. And he's like, look, you need to get that out of your head, out of your system. You need to be no emotions. You need to be this. And I did start fighting better. I started fighting smarter, right?
So it's like more like, my bad, it's like more like calmer now, or it's like
much
being more aware?
Much more calmer, but that doesn't mean you're fighting lighter.
Right, exactly.
It's calmer. You get to do more. You get to think more. You get to, be more present in the moment. Whereas like those fights, I miss that feeling though. Like it's such a nice feeling, but it's really, there's so much adrenaline going on.
Right.
I mean, I could be with my corner the whole minute between the round, and he'll tell me like what to do, and I'll be like, yeah. And as soon as like it's over, I'm like, what did he say? Like I don't even remember anything he said. That's how much adrenaline, you're just so focused on beating the other guy, you don't register anything what he's saying.
Right.
But like right now, I could have a full-on conversation between my coach in between rounds, and I'll remember everything he said because I'm so present-minded. But to be like that, you need to be so clear-minded and no emotions taking over. And I do sometimes miss the really crazy wild me, and it does come out at some moments, which is why you'll see like after my fight, when I win, there's like a whole emotional outburst because it's like those emotions were so compressed. And, just me naturally, I'm an emotional person. I don't know if it's an Arab. My coach says it's an Arab
It
thing.
definitely is.
He said, "Y'all Arabs are so emotional." He always says it. So like even
Everything.
even in training, sometimes if I get like frustrated, something, I just start like beating someone or I'm like yelling. Cause like no matter who you are, or how good you are, you're gonna be put into tough situations in training. Like it's made to put you in tough situations. Like if you're beating everyone, they're gonna find a way to make it tough. Maybe like let you sprint miles or get on the bike, or you're always gonna have a disadvantage. And then you go against a fresh person after fresh person until you start to break. And then they just basically want to see how do you fight and react whenever you're in that tough moment. So like if he ever sees like some anger come out or like, he's like, yo, Arabs are so emotional. You need to calm down. So
We got a lot of built up, man. We
Yeah.
see what's going on in the world, and
yeah.
we're not allowed to really, express our, emotions, and so it's a lot of built up that happens. So I think it's just everyone kind of has that. And so I agree, man. We are definitely an emotional, background and culture, man, for sure, man. So let's give Abdul-Kareem a quick break, Yusuf, man. He's been over here having a great conversation so far. Yeah.
I would love to. I would love to because
everybody's up until like 4
because you
a.m.
guys, from what I see, you guys have a full month of what we have like a few days in Ramadan.
Yeah.
Like we have a suhoor festival. We have a couple suhoor festivals. But I see you guys have like a full month.
Yeah.
Every day is
Every day.
Like, like, look, don't get me wrong. Dallas is popping. Like Dallas at night, you go at night, everyone's up. But like in certain areas, not like a city. Like when I walk in Dearborn, it's like everyone is out.
yeah.
Everyone is Muslim. Everyone is, there's a coffee shop and this. We have similar to that, but like shopping centers.
Yeah, no, for sure, and we're gonna dive into the comparison of Dallas and Dearborn and Michigan in general. We're gonna do that, but I just got one more question I want to talk about with the UFC before we shut it down, and that's what's your toughest battle? What's the hardest part about being a professional MMA UFC fighter? Like what's one thing that it's gonna be a battle for you, probably forever, or maybe just something that you're working on right now.
So I would say two things. Number one, being Palestinian and fighting in the biggest organizations in the world, and that makes just the road very much harder, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. Like you look at Bilal Muhammad, he had like one of the toughest roads to the title, and even when he won, many people were not happy.
And there never will be happy.
Many important
Never.
people were not happy. Obviously, there's a lot of fans that hate and all, but like we're not even talking about it. Those aren't even at a level that we talk about. So I would say like that, where like let's say you love to fight and it gives you a voice, but then there's people that could control that voice, by let's say not letting you fight or pushing you right, like that is something that gets in the way. Another thing is like MMA can be very like tough on a person's body and mental part. Like let's say you love to train, you love to fight, and then la subhanallah, you get injured, and then you have to go through that injury, and you could miss out an opportunity. And like I'm not gonna lie, like alhamdulillah, I've been through many injuries and many things in my life where I already know like, okay, Allah picked something else better for me. But like, still, watching the event that you're like, man, that could have been me. Like that was me. Like I could have been in Abu Dhabi and this and that. It just gets in your head a little bit. So I would say one of the biggest opponents that, if you could control, you'll be better. But it gets annoying is yourself.
Yeah.
And that's not just for me as a fighter. It's for literally every human being. If you could be your worst enemy or your greatest asset, if you know how to control your mind and how you deal with things.
I love that. Can you give that a round of applause, Yusuf? Man, I agree with that 100%. It's not just for professional MMA fighters. It could be for everybody. So 100% I agree with that. So, let's talk about other things that you do other than the UFC. So what are some other things that you kind of gotten into outside of the professional MMA ring?
Something that I do, like that I really enjoy, and it's not for any monetary reason. I just do it because I purely enjoy it and I'm good at it. Is barbecue.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm talking like Texas barbecue, brisket, ribs, smoked turkey, smoked chicken, like everything barbecue. And also me being who I am, like just trying to plug Palestine in everything that I do. I combine like Texas barbecue with Palestinian spices. And I started entering like barbecue competitions like 2 years ago. And alhamdulillah, I've been winning.
Really?
Yeah. So I like, even when I do that, like I take it to the next level. Like I start like using my platform and MMA connections. Like,
That's sweet.
like let's say knowing some people that have been following me and I know they're big in the barbecue world, getting me more connected to like top barbecue, like pit masters. I start, getting like advice like, hey guys, I got a big tournament, this and that. Give me advice on this, and how do I do the brisket that? How do I change it? This came out a little dry. I want to add a little flavor, and I would get like advice from like the top barbecue pit masters, and then until I kind of find my own method that makes it special to me and my Palestinian spices. And you go to these big barbecue competitions, and these big old white people taste this barbecue, and they're like, "Man, that's good. It's very different than what I'm used to." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Palestinian. That's why."
Yeah.
And they loved it, and I just love feeding people. I love inviting my friends over. We have a whole cookout, and that's one of my things. I like I could make barbecue out of anything. Like, it doesn't even need to be a real grill. We could just go somewhere. I'll put a few stones together, wood, and then make like a little fire pit, and then just make a little grill and just cook. So that's something I find myself like doing if I'm either training or I'm cooking.
Yeah.
One of those two.
Well, we got a couple of things. First of all, we got top journalist in the building, but I'm someone in the building. All right, he's there over here joining us as well. Feel free to grab you, please. There's coffee, there's water, whatever you want to grab, something to drink. I said when you were talking about barbecuing because I looked at Ali. His dad is probably the best. Listen, I'm being biased because obviously he's my uncle, but he is to me the best male barbecue guy that I know. So next time you're in town, we need to have a barbecue cook-off.
Okay.
Bro,
Sponsored by Oz Media. We'll provide everything. We just want you. We just want his dad on the grill, and we're gonna see who's comes out on top. We're gonna have the Palestinian spices versus the Yemeni spices as well. So
we
we're
need to
gonna
do
see.
a whole show for that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see.
I bring my own spices with me.
Okay.
Oh.
Whatever. Make any purchase you need for those spices.
The
whatever you
secret
need.
sauce. I got you.
There you go. We're gonna have to make that happen. And like, do you like do a little bit of like a Salt Bay into your thing when you?
I'll do stuff like that just for fun.
Yeah.
But I always like to be different and do my own thing. So I don't do like the actual Salt Bay, but I'll kind of like throw it like this.
Okay.
And it just like goes all over. My wife hates when I do that. Yeah, it like goes all over the kitchen floor.
That's funny. That's funny, man. But no, that's what's up, man. That's good to hear. Because sometimes people only see you through the lens of the MMA person. So
Yeah.
it's good to hear what else you enjoy doing, and obviously it brings the human element to things too, man. So you mentioned Texas, currently reside in Texas. Tell us, what are your thoughts on that community? I mean, I've heard that Texas Muslim community, the Dallas community specifically, is a big Muslim community, and kind of, you've been here in Michigan now for a few days. Kind of compare the two. I know you were kind of just talking about it earlier, but
they're both really nice communities. I'm from Texas, and specifically Irving. Irving has a big Muslim community. We got lots of known imams over there. Imam Omar Sulaiman, Sheikh Yasser Birjas. We have Sheikh Yasser Qadi. Lots of big name imams are out in Texas. And we got a lot of Yemeni coffee shops. That's where you see all the Muslims hanging out. But like I said, like earlier, Dearborn is special with the community because it's like what Dallas has, but in a whole city. Dallas, you'll see a lot of Muslims, but it's not like they're the majority. Like there's still a lot. You'll see a lot of like Muslim-owned stores and restaurants, like in a whole shopping center, but not like the whole city.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, whenever we went out in Detroit, like a little further from Dearborn, is when I started to see like more like diversity.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like this kind of makes sense. Where when you're in like Dearborn, it's like all Muslims, like
Yeah.
everywhere you go.
It is.
And that's pretty cool. One of the things that I liked, I want to say most about Dearborn is seeing how the mayor is Muslim and he is loved by many, like by everyone, really, not just many, by Muslims and non-Muslims. So having a Muslim mayor like handle business, and all I know about politicians is they're always corrupt, and nobody really likes them. They're just full of promises before they're elected. And meeting him yesterday, seeing him, he's such a humble guy, and just all week I've been hearing about, oh, he's done this and he's done that. He's taking care of this and taking care of these people. And it's nice to see like someone represent and handle business. Like I get really happy and proud to see someone, do good from the community, because, me being a fighter is just one small thing of what we can be representing. You could be a mayor, you could be a fighter, you could be an artist. You could be you could have a podcast. You could, whatever platform you have, you could use it to represent our community. And, it's like, what big of a da'wah is this mayor doing? When maybe you have some people that don't like us, don't like our community, but they see how much he's working effortlessly to, help the community. And like, maybe that will change a lot of people's opinions of how they see us.
Can you give that, by the way, a round of applause to Yusuf, man? I think Abdullah Hamoud is a man, and he's young too. By the way, that's another big thing about it too, is that some people would feel skeptical about a young mayor, but he has checked all the boxes. He's all about the community. He gets involved with everything. We have an annual Hamtramck versus Dearborn basketball game. He's involved in that game. He actually plays in it as well, where we raise funds. Like this year was for Palestinian, for Yemen. So, he's a great dude. And I'm happy you got a chance to meet him. And he is inspiring. I tell him all the time, man. I'm like, you're a role model to a lot of people. He just maybe doesn't realize it and stuff. And sometimes when you don't hear complaining, you're doing good things. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people don't like to give credit to people, right? I don't hear many people complaining in the city of Dearborn about, the stuff that's happening, which is a sign of great leadership, And to me, obviously, sometimes some jobs kind of, you don't get the credit for what you do. That's one of them, is being a mayor. Sometimes people are not going to just applaud you. But like I said, the fact that you don't hear people complaining about it, because you know how people can go to social media and just go straight to ripping our elected officials, but you don't hear that. All I hear is great things about the man. Yeah. So I agree with you 100%. And shout out to him, and shout out, we have Hamtramck also has a Muslim mayor as well, and I think he's doing a great job too. So this little region, this little area, they're starting to slowly show out, man. It sounds like you're about to move to Michigan soon, by the way. I'm trying to get to that point right now. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to pitch this to you, man. I don't know, might be in your future, inshallah. We'll see how that goes, man. And so, anything y'all want to add on before we move into we call this like the fun part of the show, where we're about to dive into a few things right quick.
I got one more thing. What was your first walkout music for your first UFC fight?
So it was called Ready for War. It was the instrumental. It was like just the beat, and I would only listen to that when I walk out. I wouldn't listen to it during camp, because every time I listened to it, I got goosebumps. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was like that when that music came on, it was like kill switch, like,
yeah,
So
for the sake of the opponent, you didn't listen to it going out.
Yeah, like I only listened to it the day of the fight, so it's like the effects of it stays going. Like when you like a song, you keep hearing it.
Yeah.
But when you listen to it too much, you just stop liking it.
Great point.
So that's what I did. Is like I wouldn't listen to it too much until it was time to just fight, and I just let it turn that kill switch on.
Okay.
That's funny. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like a gun, right? You gotta have it registered. I'm sure for you, I know like UFC fighters and fighters in general, right? They have to register their fists, their elbows, their legs.
Is that true?
To be honest, like even like in Jordan, like since I started like 12 years ago, people always said that. And I was like, no, you don't have to have a license. You don't have to have anything different than any other like normal civilian person. Like there's no evidence that you're a contracted fighter.
Really?
Nothing. Yeah, I even got people that would tell me like, is it true that when you're like officially becoming a fighter, they have to break your nose for you so it doesn't break again? I was like, no.
Whoa.
I broke my nose 4 times. Like it still breaks. No,
I'm not gonna lie to you. Both of those, I guess, myths were something that I thought was true.
bro, I'm
Yeah,
telling
'cause
you,
I heard.
everywhere I go, not like just in the Middle East, everywhere, like, people will ask me those questions, and I'm like, where do you get those questions from? Like, who told you? Like, no, we're not registered. Like,
I don't know why. So I felt like
Because
somebody
it's
was,
like I heard, like, you know, pretty much you're.
if you get into a fight, with somebody in the street, that like you'll be charged more because of the
yeah,
fact that
so that
because
and
you're.
then,
I guess they say you're considered as a weapon. You know, you're.
I don't know, man. Like, I haven't gotten a street fight in so long, but
we're glad. I mean,
Yeah,
let's be
yeah.
honest.
and another one of the myths that I get asked a lot is like, is it true that you can't fight anyone on the street unless there were like 4 people or more?
What the heck?
I'm like, wait, so if they were 3, you'd be like, no, get another person so I can fight you. Like, they're like, is it true? Like, I don't know, man.
No,
This-
that's.
how that myth goes.
All right. Well, that's a great question, though. Let me see. Now we just learned something new
I
today.
hear from a lot of people.
I'm sure a lot of people listening were thinking the same thing, and
Yeah.
you just let them know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that you said it because I'm gonna be honest. That's like a conversation starter, and when you're in like in the living room with people, but hey, by the way, you guys know that they don't actually have to be registered. You know what I'm saying? So good luck. You got to be careful who you pick fights with. All right, so let's start off with the rapid fire questions. Okay, these are questions so people can maybe get to know you a little bit better. Very basic questions. You know, one word. Try to do one word answers, and then we're gonna kind of go from there. And so we try to do this in 1 minute. So Yusuf, I don't know if you, or maybe one of you guys that are just chilling here, have a timer. Let's see if we can do this in 1 minute. That's why it's called rapid fire questions. It's 10 questions. I'm just going to fly through them. You just try to answer them as best as you can.
Okay.
With me reading off the questions, obviously, I can't mess that up too. All right. So Ali, whenever you're ready with the timer, let's get to know Abdul-Kareem a little bit better. All right. Ali, we're going to go on your start.
60 seconds on the clock.
Yep. No, actually, just do a stopwatch to see actually how long it takes for us to do it. Like,
Okay.
don't do 60 seconds exactly. Yeah, just do a stopwatch. But go ahead whenever you're ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Would you rather be up early in the morning or stay up later at night?
Early.
What's your favorite thing to do in the summer?
Cook.
If you can afford any car, which one would you drive?
Lambo.
What is your favorite movie?
The Dark Knight.
What is your favorite color?
Green.
If you weren't a UFC fighter, what would you be doing?
Pitmaster.
Who is your favorite UFC fighter?
Habib.
Who is your role model?
Imam Omar Suleiman.
LeBron or MJ?
MJ.
What's the best podcast show that has family and does community topics?
OZ Media.
There you go. There you go. See? My man, what's the time?
37 seconds.
Wow, that's great, man. We have people do like 1:20. They struggle with that, man. So congratulations, bro. 37 seconds is great. All right, we're going to go from we're going from rapid fire questions to the questions game. So this is why you said about the buzzer right here. You know, try to give these young fellas a chance. Very basic UFC questions. You know, we like to play this game just to make sure that the audience learns something from the conversations from today. And so, again, the topics are all about UFC. The rule is, because these rules came from arguments. You know what I'm saying? Like after we argue, the next day we'd be like, all right, we got to make sure we do this, we do this, we do this. You know, they got mad at me for a lot of this stuff. So we want to make sure that the rules are fair. So basically, you have to let me finish the question. And then you obviously have to hit the buzzer. And if you get it wrong, you get a minus point. You get it right, you get a point. All right? So other than that, it's pretty simple. I ask the question, you answer, you get a point. Okay? So are y'all ready?
So it's a free for all or 2-on-1?
No, one. Everybody's by
Free or
themselves.
for all?
Yeah, because we got an odd number of people. It's 3 of you.
All right.
So everyone's for themselves, okay? All right, so number 1. Are you guys ready? All right. So they're already about to start arguing right now, okay? What is the duration of each round in UFC? Damn, who did it?
That's me.
Who did it first?
Hamza.
That's me.
He got it before.
There's-
I don't know if he.
What? He got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, because there's 2. There's like a main event and and there's a regular.
Okay, so answer it.
5 is a regular for main event,
Okay.
but regular is 3.
Is that okay with you?
Okay, but you said the duration. How long is the round?
Like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
For main event.
3 5-minute rounds for regular and 5 5-minute rounds for what?
Main
What?
main event.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna give him
And
the point.
title shots.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There you go. Go ahead, give him a round of applause for that one. Hamza got 1 point right now. Yusuf, can you give him a round of applause for that 1-0? Okay. All right, here we go. Number 2. What is the term used when a fighter taps out the signal they give up? Who hit that one?
For them.
You said, what is the term used when a fighter?
Taps out the signal they give up. The term. What's the term used? What's the word?
What do you mean? Like, what?
What is the term used when a fighter?
submission?
Yes, correct. Go ahead. Give that a round of
What?
applause. All right, here we go. Number 3. See, this is kind of, again, it's about who hits it first. How many rounds are there in a standard UFC title fight? You got that one? All right, what is it?
5.
5 rounds. All right, see, y'all got it. So one more. We'll go ahead and give him a round of applause. This is exactly we like it when it's all tied. All right, we like it when it's all tied because now this last question is going to be intense. All right, so
You gotta
hopefully,
make it up.
huh?
You
No,
gotta keep going?
No, I got 5 questions here, but this is gonna be my last one. All right. Oh, you got it?
No.
I was gonna say that he already got the answer. He probably see my phone. Are you looking at my phone, man? All right. Are elbow strikes allowed in UFC fights?
Yes.
Oh, first of all, you answered the question like it was you that hit it first.
I did.
All right. Who hit it first? Can we get judges out here, man? Who hit it first? I think Kitty hit it first, and he low key hit it. Right
I'm not doing this. I'm just like pressing, but it's
Yeah.
okay. I like to hear answers.
Okay.
Too.
Okay. So go ahead. He's giving you a chance, Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
They're allowed.
Well, yeah, but there's rules.
There are rules.
There's
What are the
limitations.
rules for elbows in MMA?
Not back of the head.
That's one of them.
Okay. Do you want to give him the the exact answer? Because I have an answer here, but go ahead.
If he gives up,
I think I know it.
You said if he gives up.
no,
no, if you give up-
if
Oh,
you give up.
You give up. Yeah.
all right. What do you know it?
No, go ahead.
There's the amount of times you get elbow somebody.
No,
No.
it's the angle of the elbow. So
Okay.
What do you mean?
there's a rule that's been going on for all the time of MMA, and just right now in November, it's going to be overturned,
To what?
which is called the 12 to 6 elbow.
Yeah, that's what it says right here.
12 to 6.
12 to 6 is not allowed. And obviously, the back of the head is not allowed, but that's not an elbow. That's any strike back of the head is not
Yeah.
allowed, so it's not specific to elbows. The only rule in MMA specific to elbows is 12 to 6 is not allowed, which is why John Jones had that one loss in his record. He was mounting someone on top and he was basically knocking him out. And that last elbow he hit was a 12 to 6 and it ended the fight. And even though he beat him, he lost because it was an illegal elbow that won him that beat his opponent. So yeah, right now, starting in November, all elbows will be legal, even 12 to 6. But right now, currently,
All elbows?
yes.
Oh, dang.
Well, I don't know who gets the point on
Oh,
that
it's
one.
definitely mine.
There
What
you
are
go.
talking
Yeah, he
about?
gets
I think we should just do the last one.
The
last
final question. The
Yeah.
final
Might
question.
as well. Might as well.
All right.
fun.
All right. Here we go. This is for.
Worth all the marbles.
We'll see. Can fighters kick or knee their opponent in the head when they are on the ground? Yeah, both hit it. I get them the same.
No,
Time.
I like to see them go first.
go ahead.
On the ground, you cannot.
Yeah, explain.
Let me explain.
What's considered on the ground?
Like when they're like on their backs on the floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So only when their back is on the floor.
No, I feel like if they're like on their knees as well, or like if their feet aren't on the ground, I feel like it's illegal.
Their feet are not.
Yeah.
So what's on the ground?
Like if they're on their knees, or if they're on the back, or if they're on like their stomach.
Okay. Now look, I'm just giving you a hard time because this is confusing even to MMA fighters
Yeah,
in
okay.
different regions. Like you go to ONE FC, for example, their rule set is different than UFC.
Oh, okay.
ONE FC, you could soccer kick someone in the face while they're on the ground, like Pride rules, and like in Japan. But right now, what's considered a grounded opponent is anyone with any 3 points touching the ground. It could be 2 feet, 1 hand. It could be 2 knees, 1 hand. It could be 2 feet, 1 head. Like you could be tripod. Like it could be your 2 legs and your butt. Like any 3 points on the ground, you cannot strike the opponent to the face. If your opponent purposely like you have a clinch and he purposely like puts his hand down so he doesn't get kicked in the face, it's his fault. He could still get kicked in the face. You know,
Right.
you just putting your hand down to not get hit in the face doesn't count. Which that rule came after the Peter Yan and Funkmaster Aljamain Sterling fight, when Aljamain Sterling won the title by getting kneed in the face, and he fell. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't.
But his hand was on the ground. He got kneed in the face, like knocked out, rolling over, and then like when he got up and he was okay, the fight was over and he won. You know, so yeah, grounded opponent is 3 points, and you can't kick the face.
Interesting. We'll see. Go ahead and give Abdul-Kareem Man a round of applause.
My bad, coach.
Everybody's a winner in my books. Okay, congratulations, you guys.
Those are great questions, though.
Thank you. I
Great
appreciate
questions.
it. Appreciate it, man. It was good lessons that we just learned as well, man. So we're going to end it with the weekend motivation. That's where we're going to ask you a simple question. We're going to let you think about it too. But the question is, what advice do you have out there for the Palestinian people who are going through a genocide right now? And so like just if you have a chance to like, if this clip could like reach them right here, what would you tell them? Before you say the response, maybe give you like a second or two to think about it. Again, we just want to let people know out there, you know, be sure to follow us on all of our socials. You have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all under Oz Media. You'll be able to listen to this show later on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. What a great way to shoot off season 4 with Abdul-Kareem here. Such a great guest right here. It was a great time. So with that said, I'll repeat the question one more time. We call it weekend motivation because the show goes on the weekend, but obviously the motivation can go past the weekend. And it's, what advice do you have out there for the people of Palestine who are going through a genocide right now?
Man, to be honest, who am I? Who am I to give advice to people in Palestine right now? Like, look, I'm freaking sitting on a nice couch in a conditioned room. Like, who am I to give them advice? You know, I'm getting advice from them. I'm getting motivation from them. Bro, who am I to give them advice? There's nothing I could tell them except to like stay strong, and we're with you, and we're doing everything we can to be just anything like you. Like there's who am I to give them advice, bro? Nobody, man.
Give that a round of applause. That's such a great response, because I'm gonna be honest with you, wallah, and I'm saying this, you know, because of all your answer as well. Anytime I might be upset at something or I might be going through a hardship, that's exactly what I think of.
Yeah.
And then it just humbles me and it strengthens me and it makes me realize that we're so privileged. We're so privileged as people, and it just that moment just allows me to realize, like, you know, one, there's always a greater cause out there and a bigger fight out there. Whatever we're going through, there's always a bigger fight out there. And so, again, and it grounds me too. And so it allows me to kind of navigate through life. And for those people out there that wonder, why are we moving the way that we move? And why do we, you know, sometimes, like you say, like it's in us and we just explode and we feel the way we feel, is because what's happening to our people.
Yeah.
And we can't fake it. You know, we can't fake it at this point. You know, we try our best to go through each day, and you know, we might smile and have a good time, but it's always in the back of our minds. And so I respect you and I'm thankful for you, man. First of all, we appreciate you so much for coming on the show and just telling it how it is and being who you are and all the great things that you do. Everything that you do is Palestine. Everything that I've seen on your page, it's Palestine. You know, your shirts, everything that you're wearing, everything that you carry yourself as a person. And kudos to you for that, man. You know, as much respect to you. And, you know, our goal obviously is to have these young fellas to have that kind of same mindset and to teach them. And, you know, with somebody like yourself, the influential person that you are, keep doing what you're doing, because it helps everybody, man. And it allows us to feel that our voice is being heard, even though, you know, obviously we feel like we have a lot of more obstacles than a normal person. So thank you for everything, man.
Inshallah, thank you. Thank you for having me, and also using your voice also for the same mission, same goal.
Appreciate you, man. Any final words and final comments from you guys, Ali and Hamza?
Oh man, it was a great way to kick off this show. You know, we had a great guest. You know, I can't, you know, it doesn't get better than that. You know, UFC fighter for the first season. You know, it's crazy. But that's all I gotta say, man. It was great.
Man, appreciate you for coming on the show, man. It was an honor having you on the show, especially as a UFC fighter and fighting for Palestine as well, man. Appreciate you for stopping by. And also, man, it's like you're an inspiration to all of us, and you have beautiful words. Like I was listening to you, I'm like, damn, like this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy actually talks. Like some people come on the show and like they're shy, but you weren't shy at all. You were just out there representing, man. So I appreciate it, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And let's give a shout out to UHF, the team that helped us bring Abdul-Kareem here. They do such great work in the community as well, and I'm sure you're familiar with what they do as well. And so kudos to them and all the work that they do. We got Yusuf, Sohaib, and then of course we got Ibrahim Summit on the building. We're still working on getting Ibrahim on a podcast, so inshallah, in season 4 we'll make it happen. We have to maybe sign some paperwork and get things done. We're gonna make it happen, whatever we need to do. But again, this was season 4, episode 1 of The Movement.
The movement.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode. We hope that you learned a few things here and there, and be sure to follow Abdul-Kareem and inshallah and the future things that he's going to be doing as well. And we mean that little cook-off that we're going to have to do, inshallah, next time you come to Michigan. We're going to have to make that happen.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So even if it's winter, we're going to be out there in the snow. You know what I'm saying? Doing a nice little...
I think, I don't know if you, but like my dad for some reason likes cooking better in the winter. I don't know how it is,
Probably because it's not hot outside and being next to the grill.
How do you feel like?
Every day, bro. I'm not gonna be more hungry in the winter. I eat every day. I like to. Part of the reason why I like to cook is I love to eat. So it's like both. Yeah.
Well, thank you again for coming on. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you all next time. Take it easy.